Road positioning. In this video I will present the normal driving position, which is the same as driving in the middle of a space or lane. I will also present how to drive within a few inches of the edges of the road or the middle of the road, as well as how to drive 1 meter from parked cars or even closer. A normal driving position generally means driving in the middle of your lane. It's considered the safest position because it puts you an equal distance away from danger on both sides. To drive in the middle of your lane, try lining up the middle of the lane about a quarter of the way along the bottom of the front windscreen from the right door pillar. The weird thing about this view is we know from outside the car the middle of the lane lines up with the middle of the car, but from inside the car the middle of the lane is lining up about a quarter of the way along the bottom of the front window. That's going to take some getting used to when you first start driving, but after a while it does become second nature. To help you keep the car steady and centered in the middle of your lane, try looking as far along the middle of the lane as you can. The further ahead you look, the more steady your road positioning will be. When you first start learning to drive, understanding how close you are to the sides of the road or the centre of the road can be quite challenging. I'm going to show you an exercise that you can use to help you become familiar to how it looks from inside the car when you're really close to the edges of the road. I'm currently parked just a few inches away from the curb on the left side, so before I move off I'm going to note the position of the curb where it disappears underneath the dashboard so that I can create a reference point and then try to park in exactly the same position next time. Here's the view from outside when we're 6 inches away from the curb. It's time to discover how it looks from inside the car when I'm parked just a few inches away from the curb on the right side. Once I've stopped and I'm a few inches away from the curb, I'm going to create another reference point. I'll remember that the curb passes under the dashboard, about 3 inches away from the side pillar and just alongside the end of the wiper. Now I'm going to steer back over to the left, try and park the car just a few inches away from the curb. I'm going to use the reference point that I noted before, that was 2 inches away from the middle of the windscreen. Steering back over to the right side to try and park again just a few inches from the curb, reusing the reference point, which was about 2 or 3 inches away from the right corner of the front window. Now I know how it looks from inside the car when I'm parked just a few inches away from the curb. I can be more confident about my spatial awareness and how close I'm driving to curbs and obstructions. Now let's see how we can use the reference point from parking on the right in a different situation. I can see an oncoming car in the distance and I'm going to give way. I'm going to pull into the space on the left and align myself using the reference point in the centre of the road. This road positioning is really important. It acts as a signal to the driver behind so they don't think I'm parking, and it gives me an excellent view down the road. It also allows me to move off quicker and more efficiently. Another situation where I will use the reference point is when I'm approaching to turn right. I'll position 6 inches away from the middle of the road. You should normally keep to the left when driving in Great Britain. However, keep clear of parked cars so that you can respond safely to doors opening into the road, pedestrians stepping out between vehicles, children who may be difficult to see and who might run into the road. To pass a parked car with a 1 meter gap, I'm going to drive my normal position reference point 1 car width away from the parked car. And now that my reference point is 1 car width away from the parked cars, I'm going to maintain it in that position all the way along the road. As long as I maintain my reference point 1 car width away from the parked cars, I will maintain my 1 meter gap from the parked cars too. This space is big enough for me to drive through, but a 1 meter gap is not available. In this situation, I'll use my normal position reference point and line it up with the middle of the space. And back to lining up the reference point 1 car width away from the parked cars to create the 1 meter gap. I'm going to try and create a 1 meter gap from the next parked car by lining up the reference point 1 car width away again. Back to the middle of the space. A quick 1 meter gap and then back to the middle of the space. Use this reference point to drive in the middle of your lane or through the middle of a narrow space. When you're parked 6 inches away from the curb, create a reference point. It will make you more confident with your spatial awareness. You can also use the reference points in other situations like this one. Line up your normal position reference point 1 car width away from parked cars, and use the reference point in the middle of tight spaces too. Well guys, that's the end of the video. I hope there's been some useful ideas on the video for you. I've enjoyed making the video. Thanks to all my current subscribers, and if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. It really motivates me to make more videos. And for now, stay safe on the roads.